Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this week's webinar, Keep on Top of Student Progress with Student Scope. My name is Denise Drew, and I am here with the lovely Paul Freed from Leak City. Paul, would you like to say hi?
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be with you today.
Thank you. Well, we'll just get started so we can get right to the Student Scope. The Student Scope feature in JMC provides users with a convenient and comprehensive view of student data on a single page, including attendance, schedules, grades, and more. This tool allows administrators to control access, ensuring efficient and secure data management. In today's session, we will cover how to grant Student Scope access and effectively view student information on a single page. So please hold all of your questions until the question and answer session at the end of each section. If you do need to communicate with your host, you can feel free to use the Q&A chat feature in your webinar toolbar. Granting Student Scope access. Granting users access to Student Scope feature in JMC provides a convenient and comprehensive view of various student data on a single page. With Student Scope, users can quickly access attendance records, schedules, grades, period attendance, health records, discipline records, student general data, and lunch account details. By adjusting user privileges on the application security page, administrators can determine which users should have access to Student Scope and grant them the necessary privileges. In JMC Office, you head to File, Application Security, and then you click the User Privileges tab to grant Student Scope privileges to selected users. Step 1, you click the name in the user's box to begin adjusting user privileges for the selected user. Step 2, select the desired access level, either make changes or read only from the respective drop-down list for each of the following fields to provide users with access to Student Scope. So again, each of these that I'm talking about right now have to be either read only or full access. Attendance, schedules, grades. Now I'm going to go through and read these on our next section because we're going to go into greater detail in that in the next section. Period attendance, health, discipline, student general data, lunch. So fun fact, granting make changes or read only privileges for all applicable fields on the application security page allows users to access the Student Scope feature from the View Student Data page. Again, if you don't have all of those checked from here down to lunch, you will not have access to this. So step 3, you click the Save button to grant the selected JMC Office user privileges to the Student Scope page using the adjusted application security permission. So let's take a live look at that. Paul, you want to walk me through this?
Absolutely. Yeah, the reason we do this is we get this question a lot, right, Denise, of like, hey, I want to use a Student Scope. What user privileges do I have? This is really one of the only parts of JMC that you have to have user privileges across modules to be able to access a certain page. Typically, they're module specific. But for those folks that are granting this user privileges, you want to make sure that they have all of these access items so that then you can make sure that they can use it efficiently. So you are going to go under File, down to Application Security. There you go. And then you would choose a person. So Denise, I think you put yourself in there. Is that right? Or Denise? Great. And then do you want to read off? I think we had attendance, is that correct?
Absolutely. The first one you have to do is full access on JMC Administrator. And actually it goes all the way down to lunch and they're in order. So you can make this read only or make changes for attendance. Same thing with schedules, read only, or either one will get you privileges to this, but you can't have no access.
Sure.
We'll go down.
I don't think that they, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they need JMC administrator access though, Denise.
Oh, I bet you're right.
Yeah, they don't need it. So that you would turn off that access for that. That's correct.
Okay.
That'd be no access. I mean, the person could, but it's actually the items underneath there from attendance, schedules, grade, period attendance, health, discipline, not state reporting. You wouldn't need state reporting in there. And then student general data would be yes. And then lunch would be read only, right? If they wanted to see if they had the lunch items there as well. And I think that that's it. Is that correct?
I think you're right. So you're right.
Let's
The
go,
first one
let's
you
go back
don't
to the
need,
presentation. Yep, let's go
and
back to the presentation and look at the names again, because it's hard. And that's why we have this in a document. We have this as well. So just let's run through it again. So we've got here. There we go. Yep, keep going down.
there we go. Attendance. You're right. It starts at attendance,
Yep.
schedules,
Schedules,
grades.
grades, yep. Period attendance, health, yep. Discipline and student general data. And I think that that's it. And oh, and then lunch. Yep, we did the lunch as well. So just all those, you can follow this presentation, follow the articles, really easy to do. So that's it. You can go to the next screen if you want to. I don't think there's going to be any questions about this, but make sure, you know, your school counselors, your administrators have access to this as well. If you actually want to go back to JMC again, one handy tool we have, and then we'll keep going, is under file, right underneath application security is who am I? This is helpful because in case you can't access something, you can say, well, who am I logged in as? Right now, Denise is logged in as Paul. You would have your name listed there, and you would see if you didn't have access to those particular items that are listed there as well. So I think that that's good to go. So let's move on to the next section, which is utilizing this fun tool.
Okay. Getting student information on one page. This is where we're going to get down to the nitty gritty where you can use it. It's so much fun and easy to use. The Student Scope page in JMC Office provides a dashboard view of the most important information for a student, all in one convenient page. Quickly prepare for student interactions without visiting multiple pages in JMC Office. For the data that you need with the Student Scope is right there on that page. You can customize your dashboard view to include up to 6 essential data points in the order of your preferences. You select the student and view or print all of the essential information at your fingertips. So to access this, you head to view student data in JMC Office, and then you find the student that you're looking for. You can enter the name, and you can select all active, all inactive, or all just even a grade level if you want to narrow it down, filter it down. Step 2, click the Student Scope link in the Quick Links section to view the dashboard of the most important information for the selected student, right there. Step 3, select one of the following data elements from the drop-down list in each of the 6 different dashboard display boxes to configure the Student Scope according to your preferences. And this is when I said I was going to get to explaining what each of these are. After you got access, here's what you do. Attendance. View how many days the student has been absent, present, or tardy since the beginning of the school year. Schedules, you can view all of the courses on the student schedule, along with the course number, term, teacher's name, and room number. Student lunch transactions, view the family lunch balance, transactions, date, and the amount of the transaction. Period attendance, you view how many excused absences, unexcused absences, excused tardies, unexcused tardies for each period of the day with the reason for the absent or the tardy. Discipline, you can view each discipline record for the specified student, along with the problem behavior, the location of the incident, who reported the incident, and the actions and any comments that were left. Health immunization, you could view the student's immunization records for the student, including the date of the immunization, the dosage, if it was administered at the school or not, if it is valid, and any comments that were left. Report cards, you can view the student's course grade report cards. Student contact, you can view all the contacts associated with a student, including the contact type, either primary or lunch or fees, address, email addresses, passwords, and phone number. You can view the student's class photo. You can view the student's progress report, which includes grades, assignment scores, and formative assessment results. Student screen viewable test scores, view standardized test scores, test results that are available for view in JMC Family and Student. Student transcript viewable test scores, view standardized test results that are included on the student's transcript. So you'll know what we'll be printing off on the transcripts in this report here. You also can view the student transcripts. It's an unofficial transcript, including courses, grades, GPA, credits earned and attempted, and class rank over the student's academic career. Step four, you can click the print button in each box to print the data to keep for future reference. So let's take a live look at this. Paul, you want to walk me through this?
Absolutely. So you're going to go into the view student data screen. On the right-hand side, let's find a person here. Let's find actually a student. Let's go to John, John. Let's find John McElmurray because he'll have some information in there. And there's John. Up there you go. Yep. And now you'll click the student scope on the right-hand side, and that will automatically open it. Oh no, it doesn't. Sometimes it does. I usually right-click it as a student scope. You don't need to. But here's these items here. Now, when you first come to the screen, I want you to do this, Denise. They'll all say none. So change just the top 4 to none. There. Does that sound good? Just those top 4. And there we go. So you'll come in, they'll say none, and we'll just deal with the top 4 at the moment here. What you can do is on the top of the screen, you can find the student that you want. Now we found John before we came to the screen, but if you had this open as a separate screen, you can find any student that you want. Then well, actually, I'll tell you what to do, and then we'll tell you the beauty of the screen because it's pretty straightforward. You'll click on the none item. Yep. And then you'll choose any of the items you want. So what I typically put at the top is, actually, let's not do attendance. Let's do their student schedule. It's the second to the top. There you go. Yep. And then the next one I put in here is their progress report, student progress report, 4th from the bottom. There you go. So these are the first 2. Why do we put this? Because a lot of office people or counselors want to know what's the kid's schedule, what's their current progress that they have there as well. Then the third one I'll typically put discipline, which is in the middle there. And the 4th one, again, this is preference here, but you could put their attendance there if you want to. Let's just do attendance for right now. Or period attendance, either way, yep. And then scroll down a little bit more. And then you'll be able to see there's 2 more slides there. So I've got attendance. This is actually great. There's a student transcript. So this is a really good example of what you might have if you're a counselor or if you're administrator or whatever it might be. And then you can choose the other items there, a student photo, report card, what test scores, it doesn't matter. The point of this screen, and why don't we scroll back to the top, is that you can easily, without being a JMC Pro, without being a computer programmer, you can see their scope of their progress in one spot. 6 spots I can come in, and nothing here is private. So if a parent comes in and says, hey, my kid is struggling, or a parent comes in and says, my kid's doing great, but you think they're struggling, you can have them sit down right with you and say, hey, let's look at this. Let's look at what they're currently scheduled into. How are they doing with their progress reports? What's their discipline? How many times have they been absent? This is where you can easily make connections, and not with John here, but you can say, yeah, your kid has been absent 7 times from this particular class, right? This is why they're struggling. They've got an F in this particular class there, right? You can see a scope overall of how a student is doing, go from one student to the next as well. So if you're an administrator or a counselor meeting with a parent or a student, this is the go-to screen. Also, if you're a counselor or administrator, again, who's working with scheduling students, you can have the transcript here as well, how they're currently doing, what they're scheduling in, and say, all right, we're scheduling for next year. Are you failing any of your classes? What did you have on your transcript before? But really, we get a lot of positive feedback from anybody who works in JMC office, anybody who's on the administrative team, about how easy it is to use this screen and see a lot of information at one time instead of hunting and pecking for the information or trying to have multiple screens open at the same time. It's not hard to use. Once you've got your user privileges set up, come in, put some of the different items there under those selected items there, and then you're good to go. A couple other things is you can print one of the screens. Most people don't. We've got it on there. It just prints that particular tab, if you will, or that particular window. You also, if you click on something there, like with the progress report, so under that Q1 there to your right, Denise, there you go. You can click on that. Yep. And that will bring up the student's progress report there. You can print it off if you want to. You can view it in a PDF viewer, whatever you want there. You can cancel that as well. But those are kind of the 2 print options that you have there. You go back to the next tab. There you go. So you can have that open if you want to, look at that tab if you want, but it's meant to be that high level view. Sometimes people will say, well, can I print the whole screen? Well, as you can notice, look at the student progress there, even Denise, you can actually scroll down within that tab on the right one. There you go, right there. You can actually scroll down within there. If a student, if that was a real student, they'd have even more courses listed there. So there's not really a way to print everything because it's a student's transcript. It's their daily attendance. It's their overall attendance. It's their discipline, right? There's too much. It's meant to be view, see, assess the student's progress, communicate that to the most important person, whether it's the student, the parent, the guardian, or whatever, another person who works in your school, and then you can go from there. So Denise, does that kind of cover how to use it and the advantages of using it?
I think that explains it perfect, Paul. Thank you.
Anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so. I think you covered everything. I like the way that you showed to go into the student progress just by clicking on the quarter, so you can go even deeper into it if you'd like to. And again, the transcripts are there. You can scroll down in the transcripts and go from year to year.
Yep.
Lots of very powerful information on here.
Yeah, and within like 5 minutes, you can be a pro on this screen, right? I mean, that's there's not much to it. So I would say get in there, make sure you've got the user privileges, start playing with it, and you're good to go. So I don't see, let's see, we can go to the question page if anybody has any questions, and then we can wrap this one up. But you know, I would send this video link to anybody in your school who's a counselor, administrator, anybody works in the office. Even a lot of people, the front office professionals, will have it open to see a student's schedule, to see maybe their attendance and things like that all on one screen. So it's a really versatile screen that will allow you multiple users in your school to find the information that they want very quickly. So,
and it allows the administration to actually spend contact time with the student as opposed to going back and forth from screen to screen. They can just keep eye contact with the student and have everything right up at their screen facing them. So it works out really well.
Yeah, it helps you look more professional. So, all right, let's wrap this one up, Denise.
All right, JMC news and upcoming events. On the 3rd of January, we're going to have a webinar utilizing a contact directory and mailing labels. Second week in January, we have a closer look at JMC collaborative tools and getting ready for 24-25, coming up quick. And on the 17th of January, we have a webinar, a closer look at the features of JMC Refresh New Family Enrollment Portal. And January, the week of the 4th week in January, setting up lunch counts. That's teachers taking how many people are going to eat in their classroom and sending it to the office. Calling all shared superintendents now through March 31st, 2024. If you switch your second school to JMC, you'll get it free. Give our sales team a call at 800-524-8182 extension 2 or email sales@jmcinc.com to learn more. It's almost every school we find an unofficial JMC go-to person. This is the person that colleagues contact if they have a quick question about the module. You may hear them sharing JMC tips and tricks with a colleague over lunch. When a JMC trainer comes up, they're the ones nominated to go to the training comes up. They're the ones nominated to go to school for JMC. Does that sound like someone you know? Or maybe it's you, whoever it is that came to mind. We want to meet them. Why? We've learned along the way that these JMC superstars make the best client service specialists, and we're looking for passionate part-time client service specialists. Another way to be great way to stay up to date with all things JMC is through our social media presence. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn at Online JMC or blog jmcinc.com/news. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we appreciate you being with us.